Happy Friday and a warm welcome to all of you who are joining us today live. We see so many friends on social media and all the different streaming platforms. We are thrilled to be sharing with you a special highlight video with you. We're going to actually this one's really fun. We're going to do sort of like a hybrid of our typical episode with our What to Stream episode. So welcome to In the Loop with Winnie and Greg. I am Winnie Sun, your go-to for all things finance and business. And of course, you are excited to see Greg. Greg, how are you this week?
Hey, I'm doing great. Yeah, thank you. It's always so nice to be here and great to have everybody joining in, wherever they're at. I'm doing good. It's, I always bring up weather here in Portland, but it's pretty nice outside. So that's always a bonus. And as Winnie mentioned, great to have you guys here. And I am Greg Nibbler. If you don't know who I am, a longtime tech reporter, now a news reporter and producer for Fox 12 Oregon, but also covering a lot of other things as well. And here on this show, generally speaking, I talk about cool stuff in tech, which is always great to have everybody who writes in and sends in ideas and things for that. Today, though, I'm going to be talking about what to stream. And I do have, I think, some pretty good ones for at least some of you out there. So we'll be talking about that. But when we do these episodes on what to watch, we always love to hear your suggestions. So whatever platform you're on, feel free to drop in there, leave your comment and let us know, what it is that you're excited about, because there's so many things out there to watch and we can't watch them all. So love to hear your suggestions. And as always, it's just good to be here with Winnie.
Aw, thanks, Greg. I feel the same way, but you are absolutely right. There are so many things to stream, and it's like you just can't even keep track. So that's why I love when we do these episodes, Greg, because I learn so many things of what to watch from you. And before we head in, I know we're gonna kick it off with some finance, but before we do that, I want to give a big shout out, happy birthday to my dear friend on CNBC, Sharon Epperson. For those of you who follow CNBC, watch CNBC, give Sharon a happy birthday. Let her know that when he told you it was her birthday. But for those of you who are brand new to the show, we like to kick it off with some finance. And this is what's going on. Let me just say that this is not one of those happy Fridays in the financial world. So that's why we're doing streaming. So that'll be good. We'll have lots of things to watch in just a minute. But the Dow is currently down 529 points. The NASDAQ is down 293. And the S&P 500 is down 84. Now, I want to put sort of a positive spin to these negative numbers I'm just sharing with you right now. I'll just say this much, I often like to take advantage when the market is correcting and when a market continues to correct to go ahead and add to my long-term portfolio. So just putting it out there. So the stock market is falling today. Now, this isn't just the first time it's done this week in the last few weeks, but certainly, obviously, major U.S. banks are definitely, the banking industry is being affected today. And of course, corporate earnings season, we are quite very much kicking it off right now. And a lot of concerns continue to be around inflation. And let's not forget geopolitical risks as well. So these are some of the things that are hanging on investors that we're sort of waiting on the sidelines, hoping that things get better. Now, before we jump into what to stream, I'm going to share with you two really short stories that I wanted to put on your radar because I think it's going to be helpful. And I think Greg's going to enjoy them as well. So first off, is my story about rising car insurance costs and why car insurance is getting more expensive. Now, for those of you who have car insurance on auto pay, you might not even know this is happening. So I just want to make sure that you're aware. So there have been significant increases in the cost of car insurance. We're talking in the realm of 1 year increase of, like, in some cases, 22%, which is, as you can guess, significantly higher. Yeah, than inflation. And I think, like, at least both of us here, Greg and I, we're at 100% of that we pay for car insurance. So I'm thinking many of you watching, unless you're uniquely situated in certain parts where you don't need a vehicle, you're getting affected in a major way. So I want to share with you some of the reasons why this was happening so that when this topic comes up that you know. First of all, higher insurance costs have been linked, partly, of course, being because of prices of vehicles post pandemic. Obviously, cars cost more. But here's a big one too: repairs. Repairs are getting a lot more expensive due to supply chain issues, and this is one that I'm going to throw right into Greg's lap, talking about advanced vehicle technologies. Greg,
Hmm.
mean, bells and whistles, right? They cost a lot more. So
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it does to some extent, as far as like repairing it. You mean as far as if it gets into an accident? Definitely.
mhm.
Yeah, that's and it takes a lot more technical skill on that stuff.
I mean, speaking of things that would cost a lot to repair, yesterday, I will tell you, I was with the kids. We are pulling up, and somebody was pulling up in their cyber truck. And let me just tell you, the person came out of the car like they were a celebrity. Like there was like, everybody was looking at this car because there's not
Yeah,
like they're all over the place. And I was thinking in my mind as a financial person, I'm like, oh man, that thing's got to be expensive to fix. Like any little nick and cranny of that car, like you got to make sure you park that thing far away from
right.
most people. But yeah,
Y-
I mean, that's one of the reasons why car insurance is now so significantly more expensive.
No, that's
Yeah.
frustrating. Yeah, yeah, that Cybertruck. I mean, you'd have to go to because it's not even every Tesla dealer probably knows how to fix those things.
Yeah.
So you got to go to specific places, and there's weird angles that it's got on everything. Yeah, I bet that's a lot to fix if you were to get in an accident with them. Although I haven't seen one here. I haven't seen anybody with a Cybertruck here, so that is kind of interesting that you got to see one though. Did
I will say
How
I
did you
was
feel about it when you saw it? Because I know we talked about it when they first came out that we wanted one.
Yeah, Greg, that's what I was gonna say is like I honestly was disappointed when I saw it because
Really?
I was telling my husband this when we saw Elon first, review it on the screen, it looked beautiful. It looked like, that stainless steel feel and everything. But I mean, it is stainless steel, I'm sure, or something, some sort of metallic. But
Yeah.
it literally looked like it was painted a matte gray. It was not a pretty color. Like it didn't even it looked honestly, it like, my kids all thought it looked weird, and the light in the front was cool, but it didn't have the wow that I was expecting. Now, I think
Really?
the owner thought it was that way because he walked out of it like he was Sylvester Stallone or something, but, like, it wasn't that impressive, and I was thinking remember I made this comment, I said, Greg, when that thing starts rolling on the street, all the other trucks are gonna look dated." I take that back now, I was absolutely wrong, because actually, it kinda looked slightly dated, as it was almost, like, overdone, like, almost like '80s style overdone,
Yeah.
and I was disappointed.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I really want to see one in person, but I think that's yeah, an
The
interesting
color
take on it.
didn't look good, like, it didn't
Yeah.
look cool, like, it looked literally like a matte gray, so I think that's what kinda made it sort of felt like that whole, like, Miami Vice, like,
Right.
what's that that talking car phase, it just looked yeah, it didn't look as much as impressive as I thought I was hoping it would be. I mean, like, literally my kids who are, like, 10 years old, they're little kids, and they're like, "Oh, that thing's ugly."
Wow. So
That's how
maybe those
good.
touched up marketing photos don't really reflect reality.
Yeah. And my son, I will say my 10-year-old, he is like a car guru. He studies cars. His dream is to be a to manufacture cars when he grows up. He knows every little thing about cars. He builds cars constantly on like software technology, whatever.
Wow.
But like he thought it was a not a good looking car. And see how it looks all shiny and stuff? It
Uh-huh.
didn't look like that. It looked like a matte gray. Like something my
Uh,
dad would like.
it
Yeah,
seems it's like one of those things, where you see the picture of the fast food on like the fancy photo that they have, and then you get it in reality. It's like a squashed burger that doesn't look very good in real life.
exactly.
Maybe that's
Yeah,
what what we're dealing with there. Huh.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Well, that
So yeah, I mean, great in concept. I don't know. I think we're disappointed to see it in person. We were thinking it would at least look better in person. Maybe it drives really amazing and it does all these great things, but just from like driving on the street, In parking, and by the way, the guy had some trouble parking it too. That was interesting. Yet he was like parallel parking because he wanted to park it right in front, right? So
Yeah,
he's trying to park it right in front, and he was like having. I was thinking, like, it's a Tesla. It's so switch part. But anyway, on
right.
that note, that's my story. My other second story, I'm gonna keep short and sweet, and that way we can jump right in and have you like lead us on what to stream. And that is just real quick update. 30-year mortgage now has jumped to 7.37% because of inflation numbers. So not good news. We're still hoping by the end of the year, mortgage rates dropped about 6.4%. Fingers crossed. That's what analysts are expecting. But overall, demand for mortgages, demand for real estate buyership has definitely decreased. So there we are.
Wow,
That's
over
it for
7.
finance.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a lot.
not good.
So
Hmm.
maybe hold off till later this year.
Yeah.
Um, well, with all of that, we do have, what we like to do here is when we have our what to watch show, what to stream show is, there's that stuff that's going on, but hey, why not watch some fun things on your television? So I've got one here. I don't know if I should start off. What do you think? Okay, I'll go here. Sorry, I had my screen off there for a second.
Absolutely.
Okay, so this is one that I think maybe people are starting to hear about if you haven't heard about it already. And it's streaming on Amazon Prime, and it's called Fallout. So if you played the video game, you're very familiar with this. There's a series of video games for Fallout, and it all takes place in like this. Every version of the game takes place in a post-apocalyptic world where it's like a post-apocalyptic world, but a post-apocalyptic world that's obsessed with like the 50s, but still has technology. So like the soundtrack to it is all like 50s music or 40s and 50s music. And it's really, the game is amazing. It's a lot of fun. Of course, there was a nuclear war, and so there's all kinds of like radiated things, like mutated animals and things like that are out there. And then you have these different groups of people that'll live in underground bunkers, and then some of them live on the surface. So there's all kinds of stuff going on with it. And this is the series based off of the video game. And I think if you probably have watched some series before based off video games, a lot of times those don't work out very well. You have some really good ones like Last of Us. That was really well done. This one though, so far, and all the episodes are out to watch. I've only watched 1.5. It's really good. I don't think you have to have played the game to pick up what's going on. It may take a little bit longer just to really understand what's happening, but you'll be able to pick it up. So it's not like one of those things where you're required to have played every version of Fallout, but it's essentially revolves around. So just generally speaking, so that girl right there, that woman, she is going out into the real world outside of her bunker for the first time. And so it's what she's encountering while she's going up there. And then you have 2 or 3 other characters kind of all simultaneously telling their stories. And I'm imagining they all come together at some point. But the special effects are awesome. If you played the game, it's really cool because they do have a lot of it's very similar. It's pretty great what they've done with it. But without that, the story is actually pretty interesting so far too. So I would recommend for anybody who wants like a good sci-fi, post-apocalyptic, weird things. Yeah, that's Walton Goggins as a ghoul. That's why he's missing his nose there. That's from the game too. There's lots for everybody. And I am really enjoying this.
Wow, this is so cool. I'm so glad you brought this up, Greg, because I didn't play Fallout. So this wouldn't have been
Yeah.
on my radar. But this looks like really, really entertaining. And I think my kids would get a kick out of this. Really, really cool. And I'm glad that you said that you don't have to have played the game to get this. And I'm
Oh,
seeing CrossX Fighter coming on YouTube Live commenting, heard of Fallout, never played it. Looks like this is something you can check out on Amazon
yeah.
Prime, right? You're saying.
Yes, on Prime. On Prime.
Right.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
the entire show, and this isn't a spoiler, it starts with the end because it's the nuclear apocalypse. So that's just like what happened at some point. This is what the show takes place, afterward. So it's pretty fun so far. I gotta say, I'm really enjoying it.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. So cool. It's already available. Definitely
Yep.
something to keep an eye on. All right. So I'm going to segue a little different direction,
Yeah.
Greg, but I think this is going to be fun. Now, this is one that I think is very family friendly. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun for those of you who missed it because it was actually at the theaters. This is a movie, but now it's on Peacock and it'll be coming on April 19th. It's called Migration, and it's so cute. This is about a family of ducks who, of course, decide to leave the safety of their little New England pond. And I mean, if you were to leave your New England pond, where would you want to go? Of course, they're looking to go to Jamaica. They're going to have a really fun trip to go to Jamaica. And this is what the movie is about. And, so they have this like, it's great. I love this because I guess they had a really great little plan of like how they were going to go. But then, of course, everything goes wrong. They wind up in New York City. If this sounds familiar, it is very familiar. But for kids, they love like this concept. So they end up in New York, and then kind of tells that story of how they meet new people, or I should say new people, new friends, new furry friends, and it continues on. So for those of you who are looking for a feel good, family friendly movie, this one should be on your radar. I mean, we're looking forward to it. And I think especially for our friends who are also joining us on Modern Mob, this one's for you.
Yes, definitely. Well, I mean, you got some angry Central Park pigeons there, so that makes sense. Those pigeons are scary in Central Park. I don't know. They're unnerving. So that makes sense how they portrayed them right there. Yeah, this looks really good. This looks great.
Yeah, so, not for everybody, but I think definitely for little ones, and especially, something like that will go really, really well.
Mine, I will say Fallout is probably not for kids, the one that I had said. So Winnie kind of has the one side, and then, my recommendations can kind of go either way. Although this next one, this would work, I think, for some younger kids too. But the one that I've got here, because I wanted to pick a show, like, I don't know if anybody else is out there like this, where you can just put a show on in the background and you can kind of pay attention, but you can kind of zone out a little bit, but then, you can come back into it or just rewind it and watch it again. And if you miss something, it's okay. That's kind of what this show is for me. I like those mystery shows that are out there where it's like unexplained things. And that's what this is. It's called Files of the Unexplained. And this is a new one on Netflix where it's covering each episode's a different thing. And, some of them are maybe a little weirder than the other ones, but you have ones like, an alien abduction. You have the mysteries of Mount Shasta, because there's some strange things that happen in Mount Shasta. So there's all kinds of different episodes. One of them has to do with these blobs of goo that fell over Washington State, which I had never heard of that one. And I guess this did happen back in the, I think, early 90s. Yeah, there's just this weird blobs and they've never been explained. So each episode's just kind of like that. They interview people who were around there, and it's like, what's the mystery? Nothing, I don't think anything really gets solved in this. But it's, it's a lot of fun. You don't have to take it too serious. Take it serious if you want to. But I like these kinds of shows, and a lot of file footage and a lot of speculation that goes on with them. A lot of shots like that of somebody staring off into the forest, perplexed. But it's pretty fun. So I would recommend this one if you're just looking for something where you don't really have to think that much, but maybe it's, might find interest in some of the episodes, maybe all of them. It's something to throw on. And I love these shows.
This looks really cool too, and I find that, Greg, I don't know if you saw, but I've been noticing a lot of the new content coming out on streaming platforms like Netflix in particular. A lot of this like true crime or like unsolved mystery. Seems like a really popular segment or style right now. I don't know if it's like a spring thing on a summer thing, but just yesterday I was like scrolling around trying to figure out what to download before like, a long road driving. And I noticed that there was like a lot of this going on. So
yeah, true crime is huge across genres right now, across platforms. This one, I don't know if there might be a couple of crime ones in there. This is more like paranormal or weird stuff. But yeah, there's a lot of that out there right now. If you're a fan of true crime, it is a good time for you.
Because there's so
much out there. I may dabble a little bit in some of it sometime. I'm not a huge true crime person, but there's a lot out there. But this one I think is pretty fun.
Okay, so tell us so far, which of these do you feel like you're gonna watch so far? Okay, because I see some comments coming in, so it'll be really, really cool. All right, the next one that I want to share with you is a little something fun. I love myself a romantic comedy rom-com, and this is one that I think that should be on your radar if you are also in the same boat. All right, this is called The Greatest Hits, and it is on Hulu, and in fact, it starts today, so you can stream it today. It's a movie, and it's a romantic drama where Lucy Boynton plays Harriet, and she basically loves music so much so, and that when she hears certain songs, she's just like transported back in time, and so she gets to basically go back, circle back, and think about the time that she spent with a boyfriend named Max, who unfortunately passed away. So this is one of those movies where, I love romantic comedy, so that's where this is from. And for those of you who do as well, you want to put this on your radar. I think it's going to be a cute one for you to check out.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting concept. So
I like how you said interesting. I can see this was
interesting.
not Greg's.
I
And
mean, those I love like movies where they try different concepts like this. What I mean, yeah, it's just I'm watching this right now here on my monitor. So she listens to a certain song and then can transfer it to that time. That's
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, I think we probably all have that a little bit, right? There's certain songs that remind you of different things. So turning that into a movie concept, interesting.
I know,
And
right? Because like
yeah,
all of
it's
us have thought about like a past an ex, right? Or a past love, or maybe our first
yeah.
love. So
I love he's awesome too. Um, I'm blanking on his name right now, but yeah, he's in a ton of stuff. So yeah, cool. That I will check this out because I just want to see how they do this, how they go about this. That's awesome. Uh, Justin Min, yeah. Um, sorry, Curtis was just letting me know they're here in our side chat. Okay, so I've got one final one, and I know you had yours was kids friendly. This one is not. So I will say this ahead of time.
Okay.
And this is also the opposite of my last one, where I said you could kind of pay attention and don't have to worry about it. You do have to pay attention to this unless you're very fluent in Japanese. So if you're not,
Nope.
you will have to watch a lot of subtitles, but it is worth it. And I am talking about a show that's been out for a while, but the final episode of season 2 just came out a couple of weeks ago. And that means you can binge through the whole thing if you want. And I was a latecomer to this show. I had a lot of friends that recommended it to me. Finally, I took the recommendations and they were right. I'm talking about Tokyo Vice. So Tokyo Vice is set in like the late 90s, like 99, 2000, right around there in Tokyo. And the story, it starts off with there's that guy right there, this tall white American dude, fluent in Japanese, and a journalist goes there to join one of the biggest newspapers in Tokyo. And, there's a whole lot of obstacles to do that, but he does get in there and he's one of the first foreigners, essentially, that's part of that. And he goes out into the ends up getting tied into some underground Yakuza stuff, the gangsters in Tokyo, and then he's got the police, and then there's corruption stuff. So it's a lot of mystery. You get a little bit of like maybe Sopranos type of thing, only Yakuza version. Then you also get how corruption's going on, and then in Tokyo, the general thing there was that there's no real crime going on in our city. What are you talking about? Because they don't want that kind of appearance, but then you get just under the surface and there's a lot going on. So it's a lot of different, people from different worlds colliding. And I thought it was really great. And again, I was recommended to me several times over the last couple of years because the first season came out a couple of years ago. And I didn't really know if I would be interested in it. Finally sat down and watched it. Love it. And I hope there's a third season that's going to come out. The characters are really good. They do a really good job of developing them. Like the bad guys are really good at being bad guys. Good guys are being good at being good guys. And then you have the people in the middle of it. That's the one thing though, as you can see, a lot of it is in Japanese. Part of it's in English, but you will have to pay attention for the subtitles. So it's not a casual watch where you can be working on something else unless you're very fluent in Japanese. But otherwise, I recommend this show for anybody that likes any of those kind of genres that I was just talking about. This would be the one for you. Not for
Wow.
kids though, but yeah, it's fun.
That says a lot. Like, if you like something this much and you gotta be reading subtitles, I mean,
Yeah,
this I mean, when you describe it that way, to me, it sounds like work, but it must be that good that it's worth the work. I'm
it's
not
worth it.
fluent in Japanese either, but I might have to check this out. So
Yeah, I mean, I will admit, I've had to rewind it a couple of times if I miss something, just to make sure that I catch all the context, because they do sometimes they go in and out of English and Japanese. But it's pretty cool. That's also just the scenery too, showing. I've never been to Tokyo, but showing Tokyo in the 90s right there. So the visual aspect is pretty cool. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It's a fun show. And like I mentioned, the bad guys, they have some really solid villains in this. Uh,
so how many episodes are we talking about? How many seasons?
so there's 2 seasons.
Okay.
And I think each season has 10 episodes, I believe. And so the second season just came out in February. The final episode just aired. Like it was last week or the week before. So it just finished the second season. And that's kind of why I was saying for streaming too, because that means you don't have to worry about waiting. So now it's all there that you can go through and stream the whole thing.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it like that, right? But then I love it, but then I feel like, Greg, sometimes it means you're, like, staying up all night just 'cause
Yeah,
you can't
there's that
stop.
aspect too. Yeah, you got to set it down at some point. But
Amazing, amazing.
yeah,
Well,
pretty
that's
pretty
great.
fun show.
Well, great, great, great. Well, my last one, Greg, is obviously a little different, but I think it's a fun way to end this sort of on what to watch. And this is Musica. Okay, so I want to showcase this. It's on Prime Video, also a movie because I'm 3 for movies this week, and it is streaming on Amazon Prime Video. And it stars Rudy Mansusko, who maybe some of you may be familiar with. He was a Vine creator and now stars and directs and this really fun musical about coming of age love story. Follows like an aspiring creator in just like the journey and then talking about the pressures of love and family and of course his background, which is Brazilian culture but still in New Jersey. I mean, who doesn't love that? It's a fun one. And I don't know, I really enjoy musicals and I feel like, you know, it's less work, no reading subtitles, but you get to listen to music while you watch a movie.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like she's in a lot of stuff too, actually. I'm blanking on everybody's names right now. Yeah. Yeah. So this, and I'm sorry, what platform was this one on?
This one is on Prime.
On Prime. Okay. So
Yeah,
everybody can go stream that one too. Yeah. We've got a real wide variety of stuff this week
I
of what to
know.
watch. Yeah. I feel like there's something for everybody in all of these.
It does. And then those of you who are watching, we see a lot of you live today. We have a big, big audience on all different platforms today. Then let us know which of these would you watch, which of these resonates with you,
Yeah.
or if you have other suggestions, knowing that we share these, what other things should we have on our radar? Because we certainly repeat what to watch often. And um as we know, it's almost like impossible to figure out like how much and what to watch
Right.
every single week.
Yeah. I love suggestions like outside of things that I maybe wouldn't normally watch. That I'm finding out about, which is like all the ones that you just shared, Winnie. Like I didn't know anything about those. So now I have some other things to check
Same.
out. And also, yeah, if you're watching and if you liked any of my recommendations, or those are maybe things you already watch and you have another recommendation that's in that same world, I always want more. So if you know a show that's like Tokyo Vice that you think I might like, or like Fallout or another mystery show, please send your recommendations our way or tag us online and let us know about them, because I love learning about other, it's like we said in the beginning, there's so much out there right now. A lot can get lost in the shuffle. And so if you have some recommendations, please send them our way.
Absolutely. Let's give some love to more programming and things that you
Yeah.
get excited about. So definitely go ahead and send us a message. Our DMs are open. You can find at Greg Nibbler at Winnie's Son. We love to hear from you. And we want to thank you also. A big shout out to Joshua, who's been so supportive and sharing this show with everyone. Thank you so much for doing that. We truly appreciate you. I don't know, Greg, it's an awesome Friday. I feel
Yeah.
like what a great way to end the week.
Absolutely, it always is. So thank you everybody for joining us, on all these different platforms and watching and streaming and sharing. And feel free to get a hold of Winnie or I anytime. Just tag us on whatever platform we'll be on there. And yeah, everybody have a great weekend.
Have a great week. We'll see you again next Friday. Take
All
care.
right.
Be well. Bye
Bye.
bye now.